What's up, my rhythm gang? Back to the channel. Today's part will be part 3 of What If Deku Was an Immortal Vampire, and we'll be talking about Deku's past. So, one day, Deku's just chilling in his house, looking through some old stuff, and he finds a scroll. And when he opens the scroll, he sees a gun on the scroll, and he's thinking, what could it be? He's thinking for like 10 minutes of what it could be. Then he remembers that a pirate gave him this gun many years ago, like hundreds of years ago, and the pirate said, once you activate this scroll and you shoot someone with the bullets, it would take the soul from the person you shot. So he remembers how to activate it. The way you activate the scroll is that you put some of your blood onto the scroll, and then the gun would pop out. And once he touches the gun, it's invisible to all people. So he's the only one that can see it. So he's still going through his stuff, and he finds a few other shit. And Toka comes around and asks if she could help him find stuff. And he says, yeah, sure, just don't break anything. These are very valuable. And Toka was like, okay, I will. So when Toka's looking around, she finds a book, and she asks Deku what this book is, and he was like, that book, when you read it, you get a certain power, like a grimoire. So she was like, can I read it? And Deku was like, are you retarded as fuck? Let's go for like $50 billion on the black market, so you cannot read it. And Deku was thinking maybe I could give that to Stain so he could get a second quirk that isn't blood binding. So he was thinking about it and asked Toka if he could. Sorry guys. He asked Toka if he could see it real quick, and Toka was like, okay, here you go, Master. Toka calls Deku Master because she just wants to. She thinks that's her master now. So when she gives him the book, he disappears from her eyesight, and he goes over to Stain in America. And he says to Stain, okay, you need to read this book, and the book would give you a free quirk. And Stain is like, what? What are you talking about? You could give a quirk to someone? And it's like, only this book can. So, Deku was like, okay, so when I leave, read the instructions, and, then read the book. So then you could obtain your new, quirk. And then Satan understood what Deku was trying to say, and Deku went back to London, to his castle. So Deku was messing around with the gun, trying to figure out how to shoot it, because he doesn't have a regular trigger. It has a weird button that you have to press, but he can't quite press it down. It's like jammed or something. So he's messing with it, and then once he finally fixes the button, he presses it and shoots Toka and kills Toka. So Toka is dead, and he's like, oh shit, I fucked up. So he takes Toka and puts her body into a grave, and he's like, well, now what? Then he's like, okay, I'm just gonna go back to school the next day. So when he goes back to school the next day, he's still messing with the gun in class. And Mirio comes up and like, what are you doing with your hands? And Deku was like, yeah, I'm just messing around with something. And Mira's like, can I see? He was like, you can't see because it's like my quirk. And no one else can see it but me. He's like, cool. What does your quirk do? He's like, well, I can create certain things with my quirk, and I'm trying to fix a certain thing I created. And he's like, oh, okay. And Deku wasn't fixing it. He was just figuring out how many bullets he could have in his chamber and what type of bullets it takes. So he figures out that it's like a revolver. It takes like 6 bullets, and you have to put your blood onto the bullets for it to work. So he figures that all in class, and then when he gets to the hero stuff, like hero courses, not regular school courses, he actually has the principal and a few other teachers are testing his powers. So they take him out to one of the testing grounds, like from the entrance exam, and they send 15 0-pointers to Deku. And Deku was like, okay, so I just have to defeat all these. And then the principal was like, exactly. So Deku, he does a few acrobatic moves, and he kicks one. He kicks like 1 or 2 down, and it demolishes them. And then he uses one powerful punch to take down the 11 other robots. And the fucking proctors, or the fucking principal and teachers were so surprised. They're like, he might even be stronger than All Might at this point. And All Might is like, he's always been stronger than me since the day one. Well, he says that in his mind. And fucking after that, All Might comes over to him and he's like, yo, so how endless is your power? And Deku was like, it's just normal power. I'm not using much of my power. And he's like, wait, what? You weren't using all your power during that exam? He's like, no, I wasn't. And someone had heard that like a teacher had heard that he didn't use all of his power. And he went and told the principal. And the principal was shocked and was like, maybe we should just graduate this kid and make him a pro hero. And he could probably become number 1 hero. But then, multiple of the teachers are like, he still needs to learn more about being a hero. He still doesn't have a final move yet. So when Deku goes home, he's searching through his stuff, and he finds a mirror in his drawer. Or not in his drawer, in like a little box. And he puts the mirror up on his wall. It's like a body mirror. And he's like, maybe it's like that scroll. And he puts some of his blood on the mirror, and a giant portal opens, and he walks through the portal. And it takes him back to the year 1865. So I'm pretty sure slavery was still a thing back in the 1800s. I'm pretty sure it ended in the 1800s. So he went back and he was walking around, and he's seeing like a bunch of wagons and shit, and he's like, I must have gone back to the good old days, because back in the 1800s he was at his peak strength. Like, he's gotten a little weaker because he's not drinking that much human blood as of late. He used to drink a lot back in the day, so he's a little bit weaker. So he's like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. And he's wondering, can he get back? So he walks through the mirror again, and he could go back and forth to make sure that it won't close on him. So he's walking around in the 1800s, and he sees this vampire, and it looked like Momo. He's like, is that Momo? And he goes over, and it's Momo's great grandma. And he's like, oh shit, I think that might be a reincarnation of Momo. And so he puts all the pieces together and is like, does that mean Momo's a vampire? So he's thinking to himself. Then he goes over to Momo's look-alike, and he's like, well, first he lets her finish her meal. Then he goes over and says, yo, what's your name? And then she was like, my name is Mogo. And he was like, Mogo? What the fuck? Mogo? Mogo? Whatever. And she was like, how long you been a vampire? And she was like, I've been a vampire for over 10 years now. And then she asked him this question, why aren't you afraid of me? And how do you know I was a vampire? And he was like, oh, because I myself am a vampire, and I've been alive for over 500 years. So, well, at the time, in 1800s, he's only like 300 years old. So, she's like, oh, so you're a royal vampire? He's like, yep, I'm immortal, and I've lived a long time. And she's like, she's like, oh, do you want to go to this vampire ball we're having at some mansion tonight? And he was like, yeah, I'll be there, no problem. So he goes back to the portal and goes in his castle and is preparing for this party. And she goes over to the mansion and tells her master that she found a royal vampire, and the master is a girl, and she's also a royal vampire. And I'm gonna say that this girl is let's see, it's Froppy's great grandmother. So Froppy is also a royal vampire. So when fucking, sorry guys, I just saw something disturbing. So fucking when he goes to the party and meets this royal vampire, he bows down and kisses her hand. And then they start like dancing and chatting, and then Froppy's great grandmother pulls over Deku and was like, I haven't seen you around these parts, are you new to the city? And he was like, I'm not new, I'm just coming back. And she was like, oh, so you've been here before? And he was like, yeah, I used to live here a few hundred years ago. She was like, oh, so how old are you? And he was like, I'm 502. And she's like, 502? He's older than me. And, well, she says that in her head. And, she's like, do you care for a drink? And they have, like, a fucking dungeon of fucking people to take drinks out of. And he's like, sure, no problem. And he drinks the blood of fucking, what's that girl? Chaco's great grandmother. So he didn't know that at the time. But then fucking Froppy's great grandmother was like, yo, you want to know what that person's name was? And he was like, yeah, sure. And she would tell her their name was like Chaco Uraka. And he was like, I just fucking ended the gravity, people. they're gravity quirk people, and fucking he's not that worried because he didn't really know the person. So fucking he's like, okay, I think I have to go now. And she's like, why do you have to go now? Why not stay a little longer? He's like, just because I have to go check on something. He was gonna just go back home to his castle, and then while he's walking out, everyone surrounds him. Is like, I can't let you leave. We have to know more about you. And he's like, you really don't want to try me. I could take all of y'all on by myself. And they're like, is that so? And everyone goes after him, and he takes them all out with a flick of his finger. And they're all dead. And the royal vampire Froppy's grandmother was like, okay, now it's my turn. And he kicks, and it makes a giant gust of wind, and it blows Deku's hand off. He's like, okay, now we're getting serious. And then Deku took only 2 fingers and flicked them, and then she died. And then he went back, but before he went back, he called the cops and was like, there's a grand shooting at this mansion. Then he went home. So then once he goes home, and the next day when he goes to school, he's figured out that 2 of the people at his school are now no one knows about, like they never existed. Froppy and Ochako Uraraka, like they just disappeared from existence. There's no records about them, there's nothing, but he knows what happened to them. So he's just like, fuck, I fucked up. So he destroys the mirror because he doesn't want to go back there. And fucking when he's in class, Muriel asks him, hey, do you want to spar sometime? And Deku was like, yeah, I'll spar with you sometime. So like a day later, Deku and Muriel are about to go spar, and most of the people in the 3rd year are gonna watch them fight. So Deku lets Muriel get first few hits on him, and Muriel is like not getting any blows on him. So he tries to use more and more power until he gets to full power and realize he's still not doing anything. And he's like really out of breath, and Deku was like, okay, is it my turn? And everyone's shocked that Deku's lasted this long and not even gotten scratched on him. So Deku doesn't want to kill him. So Deku just lightly punches him in the stomach, and he pulled back a lot, but when he did do that, he broke all of Muriel's ribs, and he was like, oh shit, and he gives Muriel some of his blood and heals all of it, and he's like, that's some impressive quirk you have, a healing ability? He's like, yeah. And Deku was like, maybe I should give this All Might, so he's back at 100. So later that night, Deku goes over to All Might, and All Might was like, oh Deku, it's you, so what do you need from me today? And Deku was like, don't you still have that injury from all those years ago? He's like, yeah. And Deku was like, do you need someone to heal it? Because I could heal it for you. And All Might was like, wait, what? You could heal my injury? And Deku was like, yeah, I could heal your injury. If anyone drinks my blood, I could heal any injury, even if all your limbs were severed. I could heal I could heal all your injuries. If you're like about to die, you would be full strength. You would probably even be better than before. And All Might was like, no way, really? And he was like, okay, so can we do it right now? And All Might was like, yeah, or not All Might, Deku was like, yeah, sure. So Deku slits his wrist because he needs a lot for this, because it's been so long since the injury has happened, so it's going to take a little more. So he slits his wrist, and he starts making All Might drink his blood, and All Might is like steaming up because his shit's. He was in Small Might form, and now he's getting into buff form, and he's just like, I think it's working, and then a giant explosion of mist happens, and then he's in buff form, and then he checks his stomach, and the injury is no longer there, and All Might thanks him, is like, thank you, I'm so happy, thank you, what can I do for you? I'll do anything you want. And Deku was like, all I want you to do is be the number one hero and protect everyone. And All Might was like, for sure, I'll keep doing that as long as I live. And Deku was like, alright, I have to go, All Might. See you later. All Might was like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. So Deku is back at his house, still going through his old stuff. And he finds more shit that goes to his gun. He finds a suppressor, and he also finds a different gun. He finds a grenade launcher. And he's like, why would I need a grenade launcher when this is already overpowered? And he's remembering, and the pirate said, if you shoot this at someone, it takes their soul away and makes their entire existence just disappear. So their soul's gone and their body disintegrates. And it could happen to multiple people. So one little tiny shot can affect like 10 people at a time. So he's like, maybe I'm not gonna use this. So he puts it back. Then he finds a print of a boat, and he's like, what could this be? And he remembers that the pirate said, these are very special. One of these can cost over 500,000 gold. And 500,000 gold nowadays is like over $40 trillion. So he's like, this is very expensive. So he puts it up on the black market for about like only $4 billion, because he's not gonna get trillions of dollars, because no one has a trillion. So someone buys it from him, and he gets his $4 bill and decides, maybe I should buy something or donate some of this money to the school for more stuff. So he goes to the principal, was like, yo, can I donate around like $2 billion to the school? And the principal was like, $2 billion? Are you sure you have that much money? And Deku was like, yeah, sure. I just have money laying around anyways. And he thinks in his head, I'm the richest person alive. I have fucking over $60 trillion, so I don't really need any of this money. So he donates $2 bill to the school, and they get way better stuff than before. They could fix all the damages that's happened. And they get increase in security. So one day, Deku was just chilling at a park. He's just sitting there, and a villain comes up to him and is like, give me your wallet, kid, or you have to face a consequence. Give me your wallet, kid, or I'm gonna cut you, okay? And Deku was like, yeah, go piss off, I'm not gonna do anything. And the villain was like, what? And then the villain takes his knife to his throat and was like, give me it right now, or I'm gonna cut your throat. He's like, cut it, won't do anything. So he cuts Deku's throat, and he sees that it did nothing. He's like, what? How are you not bleeding to death? And then he's like, oh, you fucked with the wrong person. And he stands up, and like, he has, his eyes can turn red whenever he wants them to. He hasn't done it yet, so it makes his eyes blood red. Then he looks straight into his eyes, and then he's in an internal illusion, and it shows pictures of that villain's clan being annihilated over and over again. So, yeah. So he just leaves the villain there and with the knife in his hand with blood on it, and then he calls the cops and he's like, there's a villain with a knife and blood on it, and the cops come in to detain him, but they can't get any words out of him because he's still in the eternal illusion. And then Deku goes back home and decides, alright, I'm not gonna fuck with any of my stuff anymore until like another 100 years. So he decides, oh, I'm just gonna go to bed until tomorrow, because I know a lot of school stuff is starting to happen tomorrow. So this is where I'm gonna leave the episode here, and in tomorrow's episode we'll go back into school and the story. So hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like and comment. You could subscribe if you want. I don't really beg for subscribers. So yeah, like, comment, and tell me which Naruto what if I should be doing, because I'm gonna be doing it on Friday. So please tell me, and hope you guys comment. And I'll see you in the next video, Rhythm Gang. Bye bye.